Welcome back. You're watching Today. I'm Aropiwa Madzena, and the South African political landscape has lost a towering figure. Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, a man with a complex political career, criticized by some and revered by others. Without a doubt, he has left his mark on democratic South Africa. To discuss this more, we're joined this hour by PAC member and author Jaki Seroke. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon, Mr. Seroke. And we say complex because there are so many nuances that made the political career that we saw of Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. But at the forefront of it all is that he was passionate about certain issues that he wanted to bring up, and he was central in the initiation of actions to eliminate issues around HIV/AIDS, for example, education being bettered in different communities around the country. So despite the complexities of his political career, there were policies that he stood firm on and ensured got the spotlight that they deserved, and hence we sit in a South Africa that we do today.
Yes, I think complex is a better way to explain the life and times of the late Dr. Mangosuthu Buthelezi. His lifespan in politics covers a wide range of areas, and there are good, the bad, and the ugly that he has experienced and participated in. Dr. Buthelezi, for instance, I think could be described as a conservative politician. He tried to balance between traditional leadership as described and defined by the Western powers. He also tried to participate in the Bantustan system, the homeland political system, whilst being fully aware of the nature of the struggle South Africa was engaged in. For instance, he would refuse to be part of an independent or take the independence that the others have taken in the Bantustan system, because he understood that South Africa is a unified country, and all of us belong to a unified country like that. That complexity also put him in conflict with young people. Particularly in the universities, members of SATO, the South African Student Organization, often had conflict with him directly on campus, and some were expelled. So the Black Consciousness movement in the 70s in particular did not want to have anything to do with anyone who collaborates with the system. And he was identified as one of those collaborators. And if you look at his life, his input and his wanting to associate with the liberation movement, whilst at the same time having his one foot in the system of oppression, really created complexities around him. When the leader of the PAC, Robert Sobukwe, was being buried in Graaff-Reinet, Mangosuthu Buthelezi attended, including leaders such as Helen Suzman of the Progressive Federal Party, and the mourners, particularly young people who were at that funeral, refused to give them a platform, and they actually pushed that Buthelezi should not be a speaker at the funeral. So his acceptance and interaction with political parties is checkered, because of his conservative approach. He also worked with the African National Congress, particularly in 1979 when they had a meeting in London, agreeing to whatever program that they would do with the IFP. But he later on had these difficulties with the African National Congress and disagreed with them fully. I mean, Mangosuthu Buthelezi was very articulate. You cannot deny him that he was very wise as a politician, and he could find himself putting up his position very strongly. So his lifespan covered all of that, including the most recent history and his participation at the last minute in the 1994 election, when he was arguing that those elections, the IFP in particular, would not support. So we think that his life is a field of study to understand the nature of the person is. I just want to say also that he also had his own idiosyncrasies. There was a live broadcast that caught him arguing with one of the princes, you know, the indunas in the KwaZulu kingdom, who were at loggerheads with him. And he was very angry with the way in which this person was expressing himself about him. And you could see that he's a whole person. You know, you could laugh at him, you could do all those things, you could take him very seriously. And at the same time, he was a very lively character in the politics of South Africa.
I know people have been posting various videos on social media about the fact that he actually did have a sense of humor, and he was quite easy to get along with and quite personable as well. Do you think that that conservativeness and the difficulty for him to be relatable in some structures, whether it be the youth political landscape and otherwise, was also the fact that there was this dark cloud hanging about the fact that he was dubbed an apartheid collaborator, and to the very end he never actually admitted to ever being involved in the unrest that really almost dipped South Africa into a civil war right on the brink of democracy. Do you think that that difficulty in relating to him in different structures of the political realm perhaps also had to do with that?
Yes, I think his closeness with the apartheid forces and his lack of forthright position with regard to the regime at the time put him at a vulnerable position, and he received support from rogue elements and the third force in the SADF of that time. Trained people, was involved in the violence, but he refused to admit that his political party and his government of KwaZulu-Natal was involved in this. So we don't know the truth because he had never really admitted to this. But like all political figures, they are all complex, and there are things that you analyze and look at him, you'll realize that his full personhood, his personality and the way in which he made an impression on many people, he'll never be forgotten. He certainly was a strong figure in the politics of South Africa. When I look at him, his ability to sing that he took from his mother, his ability to interact with anyone, including that the fact that now he was an elder statesman and could talk to the IFP, the EFF, the PAC, and all other political parties, including the current government, as an elder statesman. So he, I think, made his innings very well in politics.
Just a final one, if you will, and very briefly. Now that the strong figure that you've just described to us has passed away, what lies ahead for the IFP beyond the 2024 elections? Does it still hold a place, a viable space in South African politics without the leader?
I think the IFP definitely has a space. Its politics have a space in South Africa, and we should really have time for it. But they are going to be facing a deep challenge because I expect that there would be leadership challenges within the IFP. It's not easy to fit into the boots of a strong character, a strong man like Buthelezi. So there will definitely be political rumblings, and I'm afraid of the future of the IFP as a strong body with those challenges. I should know. We belong to the PAC. And we've had lots of leadership disputes on these issues, and they can be sparked by anything.
Sparked by anything, indeed. Thank you very much, a PAC member and author, Mr. Jaki Seroke, joining us this afternoon to reflect on the complex political career of Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. We've still got a lot more of those reflections, including a segment of a documentary compiled by producer Mphola Gaje on the life and legacy of Mangosuthu Buthelezi.